Hi, I'm Logan Robinson from RobinsonTour.com, and I'm going to show you how to open your Xbox 360's hard drive and replace it with a larger one. So the first thing you're going to need is all the stuff you need to open your drive. The first is screwdrivers. I've got my own fancy kit because I do a dozen of these a week, but if you buy a kit from our website, you'll get a screwdriver like this, which has a lot of bits you don't need, but it also has a Torx 6 and Torx 10, which is what you need to open it. You're going to need your pre-flash Western Digital hard drive. You can't just have a regular drive, it won't work. You have to have a flashed drive, which we sell at our website. And the first step is going to be to undo all four of these external screws. So I'm going to undo all that, and we'll cut back once I've got it opened. Alright, one quick side note I forgot is that this is going to void your warranty because the fourth screw is right underneath the warranty sticker. But you probably don't care about your warranty since you're opening the hard drive up, but that's just something to remember. So I basically just poked the screwdriver right through to pop the screw out. Alright, this part is kind of tricky. Some drives are easier than others. But basically you can see the shell has two halves, and you're just trying to get these apart without breaking anything, which can be kind of hard because there is a little bit of force involved. I'm actually going to set the camera down so I can do this better. Alright, everything came out clean, nothing broke. Now, I do want to get a good shot of this mechanism right here. It's really simple. It's a button, the latch, and a screw. But if you're like me, you'll probably have it fall off at some point. So you've got to know how to get it back together. And the way you do that is you put the spring on here, and this is a lot easier if you have two hands. So one second. So you're just going to stick that in there so the spring lines up, and you're gonna stick your button right back in the notch. Alright, so the next step is pretty obvious. You're gonna switch screwdriver bits to a T10, which should let you open these black screws here. So let's find the T10. That's it. So I'm gonna undo these four screws and cut back when I'm done. Alright, all four screws have been taken off, so we're just gonna pull this metal piece away. And as you can see, the hard drive is connected to a power and SATA connector. So what you're going to do, preferably with two hands, is slide that off, and then you're going to have to kind of lift up on the metal to get the drive out, and you just pull that out, and you can see this is a stock Seagate 20 GB drive that's trashed. Although you shouldn't actually throw it in the trash, that's probably a bad idea. And so this is our Western Digital BEVS drive, pre-flashed, and we just slide it in the metal. Again, you have to lift up a little, just like when you were pulling the other one out. And then you're going to stick this connector back on, and I'm going to set the camera down for this. Alright, so I reconnected that so you can see it lines up nice and flush. Now you're going to want to slide the drive, slide the drive over. You can see how it, the pieces of plastic go over, because that pushes down on the part that goes into the 360. So you got to make sure that's covered up. and it's also so these screw holes line up. So when you get that, it's pretty self-explanatory now. I'm just going to undo the steps we did before. So you'll stick this metal on, and you put the 4 screws back in, and I'll cut back once I have the screws back in. Alright, so I've got the 4 screws back in, and a couple notes: if you have trouble getting any of the screws in, like if they're not gripping, usually, well, first make sure that your hard drive is lined up, and if it is pretty lined up, just make sure you use plenty of downforce, because you don't want to strip those screws at all, because, I mean, you don't have any extra. They're not hugely important, but you definitely need some in there to secure the drive. So now we're basically just trying to get this piece back on, which is kind of tricky. Alright, actually didn't have that on camera. But basically you're just gonna, you gotta push forward, so you gotta push like that, and there's little hooks that you have to line up basically, and that just snaps together, and then once you have that, the whole drive is pretty much secure. That part is. Then you just have to put the screws back in. So put all 4 of your screws back in. You have to switch bits again, obviously, because these are smaller screws. But that pretty much sums it up. I'm going to finish this drive up, and then I'll come back with some final notes. Alright, so here's some closing notes. The hard drive is complete now, obviously. All you really have to do is stick it in your system. On the dashboard, go to System and then Memory, and then you go to Format, and it'll just walk you through the rest. Like I said before, you can get the pre-formatted, pre-configured, pre-flashed hard drives at robinsontor.com. It comes with the drive, like just the drive that was in the plastic, like you saw, and the screwdriver, and we'll have pricing and stuff on the side of the video. And we also sell the completed drives like this, the refurbished ones. They cost a little bit more than just the other drive, obviously, because you got to pay for a case. But both those options are available, so feel free to check out the website. Thanks.